Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner Davis.
Good evening. Welcome to the program, WCM Live this evening, and we have something in store for you this evening. Some historical information and some very good current information that, as you saw on our promotion, for those of you who have seen it, it says we're celebrating the local legacies of the Buffalo Soldiers, and we're going to start by asking, you know, who knows what the Buffalo Soldiers are, but here we're going to be here to kind of start things off with you, and we have a couple of guests. But first, I just want to just give you just a couple of sentences of background of where the name Buffalo Soldiers came from. According to the Buffalo Soldiers National Museum, the name originated from the Cheyenne warriors in the winter of 1877, and Cheyenne's Indian a set of human beings. The translation being "quote unquote" wild buffalo, and that was coded that as the beginning of the word Buffalo Soldiers, because the buffaloes, the wild buffalo, I guess their parents and the two were not wild for the soldiers that we're going to talk about, but their bravery. Okay, so. Before we get any more further, I just want to, if we can just show you a clip of what we're going to be talking about this evening, and then we'll get on to there, and we'll just go full speed, and all you just sit back and get your consumption of the Buffalo Soldiers. You're going to like all the information, especially the events that just occurred. It's a new revelation to some of the people, especially our youth. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we're trying to work our magic to get this thing going, but that's okay. Anyway, we'll okay. Here we go, and just a slight video of what we're going to be talking about.
The Buffalo Soldiers were African American troops that started in 1866 after the Civil War. They served in segregated units, tasked with protecting settlers, building infrastructure, and combating Native American tribes during westward expansion. They earned their nickname from the tribes they fought, who likened their courage and strength to the buffalo. Despite facing racism and harsh conditions, the Buffalo Soldiers became renowned for their discipline and bravery. They also played key roles in later conflicts, including the Spanish-American War and World Wars I and II. The Buffalo Soldier regiments were disbanded in 1951 when the U.S. Army was desegregated following President Truman's executive order. But these men will be remembered forever. Tune in next time for more 30-second history. The Buffalo.
Okay. Hope I didn't tap it off too quickly there. But again, I was reminded to tell you exactly who I am. So I'm Ed McQueen, for those of you who first time tuning in, okay? And we're going to be, as we move further on, we're going to be asking the audience to post a question, the comments, and to share whatever you want to say about the broadcast, okay? All right, so I'd like to introduce you to two people who became, by way of their activities dealing with the Buffalo Soldiers and their research, I'll use the word research for lack of a better word, I guess, on celebrating this wonderful group of people called the Buffalo Soldiers. And so now I'd like to introduce you to Miss Brenda Bankhead and Mr. Orton Bellamy. Both were very instrumental in producing a fantastic celebration over the weekend. And that's how we got to conclude that they need to come on broadcast and let and let the rest of the region anyway and the nation know about what they're celebrating. And then while you're celebrating something, you yourself you start investigating history. So we'll start with Miss Bankhead. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much.
All right, and Mr. Orton, who's
How you doing?
you're no stranger. And neither Ms. Bankhead. I mean, we had her once before. We couldn't get her video. I mean, her camera working. So, but we did hear the wonderful things that she was still engaged in. And Miss Bankhead, my understanding, without further ado, you can give a little background. But I want to say this. I know you're a veteran. You're a veteran.
Yes. And I am a proud woman, veteran. I'm a proud veteran of the Women's Army Corps also. I had to say that. I'm the Women's Army Corps. Alton and I was in church one Sunday, and he brought to my attention, we need to do something about the Buffalo Soldiers. So that's how the program began. So we got together and we discussed what we could do to make people aware of the Buffalo Soldiers that were actually from the area, this area and the surrounding communities. And we did research. We reached out to the families, and the rest is history. We spoke to the church, Chesterfield Church. My church was definitely in support of that. And we started preparing for the program. We found 5 Buffalo Soldiers from this area. So proud of them, 5 Buffalo Soldiers from this area. And there are Mr. Floyd Bellamy, Mr. Daniel Bellamy's actually from the Longs area, Luke Chestnut, and Corporal Fred Hickman is from Conway, and we had a private first class, Frank Moore Jr. We acknowledged their families. And we spoke on the activities, what they did when they was in the military. Because at first in World War I, in the Civil War, prior to 1860, prior to the Civil War, prior to World War I, these Buffalo Soldiers didn't have weapons to defend themselves. They was also mostly fighting off the Indians, so the stagecoaches and all could travel through the West. But in World War I and World War II, these soldiers, most of them was a part of the 92nd Infantry Division. And the 92nd Infantry Division, that was a black infantry division, totally black. And they're the ones who went to Italy, and they fought in Italy. One of them was not one, which is Mr. Fred Hickman. He was with the 24th Regiment, and he was a bugle player. So his job was very, very important. See, the bugle players, they send signals out. They communicate. They tell you when to wake up and they blow the bugle. When you wake up in the morning, you have lunch, and when they go to bed at night. So his job was very important. Mr. Hickman also, but the other ones were frontline infantrymen. They was in regiments. So we came and we wanted to do something for the community, make the community aware of them, because there were so many people who wasn't aware who the Buffalo Soldiers were. And we felt that if they knew their past, their Buffalo Soldiers' history, who they were in their history, that would make them feel proud of their relatives. And that's what we did. We reached out and we researched, and we spoke of the history of the Buffalo Soldiers, what they did in the community, what they did, how they suffered in the segregated army, discrimination, what they endured. But they were so fierce fighters of bravery. And when we explain this to them, you can see the difference in some of the family members' faces, just hearing how important that their loved ones were. That's what was so excited. That's what I was so excited about. And as you know, we also reached out to one of my friends, which was with the National Buffalo Soldiers Association. He's an officer, and he reached out and he brought in with him 59 members of the National Buffalo Soldiers Association. And they came down. This was something that's never happened in this community. Never happened. And I would never forget the way they came in on Saturday. It was so beautiful, so organized when they came in. And they were just thankful that they could be a part of this celebration because this is our first one. I say our
Yeah.
first and only one,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Wow. My understanding, was that yeah, Mr. Orton Bellamy, Orton had some interactions and some very important comments. I think he wants to share with us also regarding that.
Okay. Well, my first, because one of my auditions, when I was stationed in Korea in 1978, I was selected as the Equal Opportunity Race Relations Officer, and I had to go to 30 days of training there in Yongsan, Korea, and what we did was part of that we were trained on cultural history, so I took courses on. That's why I was exposed to the history of the 92nd Infantry Division, the Buffalo Soldiers, the Suez Indians, Coast Guard of the Japanese Infantry. There's various other different groups that can contribute to the United States military. So part of the different diversity groups in the military that fought in the military. And the person that locally I discovered was a Buffalo Soldier. I had a conversation with, let me get this correctly, I think Miss Louise Moore, the wife of Frank Moore Jr. I had a conversation with her one day, and she showed me a photograph of her husband. She said, my husband was in the war, World War II. And I noticed the photograph, he had a buffalo on it, had a buffalo patch. And I say, ma'am, your husband was a Buffalo Soldier. She said, son, what is that? So I explained to her what was a Buffalo Soldier. She said he never talked about it. He was in combat in Italy for about 14 months. And he never had that conversation. So that was the first one. Then I had a conversation later on with my uncle, Daniel D. Bellamy, who also was a Buffalo Soldier in Italy. So then Brenda and I started doing other research, and we discovered the other three individuals that were Buffalo Soldiers from the community. So we came together and said, okay, let's do something educational so we can pass this history on to the next generation after generation after generation. So that's the reason why we had the event, and it was overwhelming. I think there was something like over two. And Brenda and I, we were laughing about it. That it's something in the military, when you do any type of operation, you look at strength and weakness, and we call it AAR, after action review report. She wrote a splendid report, the AAR. So a great job there, Brenda. So that's part of our military training. And then we discovered it had over 200. So, and also it's been overwhelming, the positive comments on Facebook about the family member saying, well, I was not aware my family member, my uncle, my grandfather, my great-grandfather was served in the military in combat in Italy in the South Pacific with the 24th. So, and then with this conversation and with this educational opportunity that passes, as I said, generation after generation, early on that we discovered, in the last 3 days, we discovered 4 more. And I will read them off right quick. And Edward Gore from Bucksport, South Carolina. His daughter name is Deborah Austin from Bucksport. I had a conversation with her this morning. My cousin, John W. Wilson Jr., he was with the 371st Infantry Division, 92nd Infantry Division in Italy. Thomas W. Wilson, he was 24th Regiment in the South Pacific. And we need your assistance. Anyone who's listening to this, listen to the show, we need your assistance in identifying John W. Watson. He's from Lawrence, South Carolina. He served with the 371st Infantry Regiment, 92nd Infantry Division in Italy. So let me provide you my phone number, area code 843. The number is 222-7771. Please reach out to me. And we would definitely like to meet with the family so we can recognize Mr. John W. Watson.
You're going to get some responses from the Watsons because they almost originated in Loris, man.
That's right. That's right. So yes,
they inundate.
Yeah,
The
there's a lot of
Watsons
Watsons in there.
Loris. Yeah.
There's a lot of Watsons and Loris there. So we like to reach out to the Watson fans. Please call me, and we like to recognize Mr. John W. Watson from Loris, South Carolina, 371st Infantry Regiment, 92nd Infantry Division, Italy.
Okay, you're going to get some from the Watson family in Loris. So
right.
So thank you for that, Orton. For y'all to put this thing on. Actually, you must have been very passionate about it, Ms. Bankhead. In fact, this is not the first time that you put on something regarding veterans, but the first time, I guess, for the Buffalo soldiers. We had them coming from near and far, right? From the photos that were provided, that they came in motorcycles. So tell me, how far? What's the farthest, based on your conversation, that they came from?
The farthest they came from was Orlando, Florida.
Florida.
Yes, that's where the ambassador is at. He's down in Orlando, Florida. And then we had them come. They came out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
Right.
Fayetteville, North Carolina. Wilmington, North Carolina. Columbia, South Carolina. Florence, and Charleston, South Carolina. Now, I planned for this to be a one-time thing, but Alton twisted my arm.
That's right.
So it seems like this may be an annual thing. So what I'm going to ask is if there's other family members out there who think or may think that they loved ones could have been a Buffalo soldier, please contact us as soon as possible so we can work towards researching the information and preparing if you would like for them to be recognized and your family to be recognized next year. Please contact us as soon as possible, whoever you are out there. And if you're not sure, still contact us and we'll do the research to make sure.
I find it a little bit in awe to see how patriotic these people are. You saw the flags that were being raised, and knowing that some of the inequities that had existed for during their careers in the Army, and especially after they got back as veterans, you have to not question their passion for it, but it's something to, I guess, not celebrate, but it's something to look at and investigate, for lack of a better word, about their experiences, as Buffalo soldiers and as Black soldiers coming back from places like Vietnam and the Gulf War. You come back to certain things that doesn't appear to be equitable for your production of life, if I could say it.
It's a difference when you go places like that. The life that you've lived over there, it can never be, you will never be the same. You will never be the same. And it's something about military, in the military family, we can communicate. So a lot of times what happened, even with the Buffalo soldiers, the World War I, World War II veterans, when they came home, they didn't talk about it because it was so detrimental to them. They didn't want to talk about it. So their families never knew about it. We had Vietnam veterans who had 2 Purple Hearts right near. I knew them. They never told me about it. I would have done something and recognizing that the community would have done something, but they didn't talk about it. So what I ask is that we come together and we acknowledge our veterans also and the Buffalo soldiers and do what we can do to help them, because a lot of times they won't talk to family members, but they'll talk to other veterans. I assist a lot of veterans with getting benefits from the military, from the veterans, VA. And they'll talk to me, but they won't talk to their wives. And that's because I can relate to them. I am too also a Vietnam era veteran. I was in Korea, young son. I served my country too over 21 years. So I've done mine so they can communicate with me a little bit different than they can communicate like with their wife about their military experience.
Yeah.
Well, as Brenda was saying, is that my cousin Daniel Bellamy Only thing he would say that he went through basic training at Fort Jackson, advanced training at Fort Huachuca, and then he was deployed to Italy, Naples. Once he arrived in Naples, he's only thing he would say that he had a difficult time, and he saw a lot of things that happened. That was the end of the conversation. But he didn't talk about the fact that in 6 months' time, the 92nd had captured over 19,000 Germans.
Yes.
POWs, 19,000.
Yes.
And he only thing he would say that there's time they were in combat and they would go from town to town. And once the 92nd would deploy that location, the Germans would surrender. I mean, they didn't want no parts of this because those guys was furious fighters. And they're just sort of weapons out and say, okay, we want no parts of this. So, and he said that, and that was in the conversation, because of the horrific situation you're in, that's something you don't want to relive. And that's the reason why when we talk to the family members, they say they never talked about it. And we understand that as being soldiers.
Yeah, well, yeah. I find that kind of odd too, because if things were as inequitable as a lot of people, a lot of veterans have said, you think they would come back and gripe about it, but in their favor, a lot of them just started doing some things to better and making sure that their future generation will not have to go through something like that. Okay, and I've seen that happen. You have some very, very productive veterans in this area in terms of getting involved with the communities and in other institutions. But interesting, whenever I see, a female veteran, it kind of
okay.
Yeah, because when I grew up, when somebody said the veterans are over there, or the veterans doing something, you just think about a male. That was just a common thing to do. Okay, you think about a male, and so it kind of excuse me if I seem to think that you're left out, but and I don't have to be left in off just because it's a female veteran. But having said that, Ms. Bankhead, what did your experience seem like it was in double jeopardy when because you were a female? You hit all the categories. You're female, you're black, and you were in the army of other places like that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. When I went in the army, I didn't go to stay. I just went in to get away from home. But once I got in, it was nothing to do but stay in. I was 18 when I went in, so I couldn't just go in. My parents had to sign for me to go in back then. But again, I was going into the Women's Army Corps, and going into the Women's Army Corps, we were treated different. We didn't do the same thing the men did. We wasn't even given the jobs that they were doing. Like now, you got women in infantry, and I'm totally against it, but women are in infantry. They are in the tracks. They are in the Abrams. That's sort of the tanks. Wherever men are, the women are mostly everywhere. Women are. But in the military, as a woman, as a black woman, yes, there were difficult trials because you got to fight against the man, the white woman. You're competing against her, the white man, and the black man. And then here you go, the black woman. I was a mother and a wife in the military and a leader. So I had a lot of responsibilities, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I am so happy and so proud of being a soldier. I'm so proud. I was the first female from this community to go into the military. I am the first one that retired who's actually from this community. And right. I encourage other people, go in the military. The military, I enjoyed it. I would go back tomorrow if it was a little like it was when I was there.
So you would do it all over again?
Yes, I love the military. Yes.
Yeah. So that leads up to your efforts in pulling this thing together like you had over the past weekend, your discipline may be attributed to that. The discipline that you had in the military, I presume.
Yes.
Right.
I came from a strong, disciplined family also before I went in the military. So that was instilled in me. I'm coming from a family of, I have 5 siblings, and my parents, they was very strict. So I came in with that and a lot of responsibility of working hard. And I worked hard before I went in. So, but when I got in the military, it had just enhanced my skills that I already had. And being a leader, being responsible for other people, that just increased what I was already doing. And after I retired and coming out, I just loved it. I worked at a group home, Sea Haven Youth Home. I was director there for 17 years. That was the most rewarding job I ever had. But being out here as a veteran now and helping other veterans, looking out for them, that's what I feel I need. I believe that's one of my callings that I need to do, because so many veterans are not getting the help that they need. So
that's
somebody
been
got
going on for a long time. Yeah.
And they knew nothing about it when they came home, about when they came from Vietnam. Nobody told them about different benefits that they could get. But now we're finding out more. We're helping veterans so they can help and improve their life skills.
Yeah. Art Art and I used to converse on things like that, and the different approaches for medical care. And as recent as a few days ago, we were talking about the different medical care when you are you can get it free at veterans as opposed to private medical care. And I think Art, unless you don't want to talk about it, Art, your rank when you got out was pretty high, right?
Well, yes,
from what I've researched.
Okay, but yeah, but what's important, I think what my experience in the military was, as Brenda, I concur with what she's saying, is that it's an experience that I would relive again. I would sign up tomorrow. I retired from Fort Bragg. I'm an hour and 45 minutes away. If the military or Navy just give me a phone call, I'll be at Fort Bragg an hour and 45 minutes, ready to roll. So,
ready to roll.
So yeah. But and again, that discipline from home, discipline at school, and also being the fact that, based on my research, our family research, is that I had three World War I veterans in my family. Okay, Frank Bellamy, Amos Bellamy, and Sam Stanley Sr. In fact, Brenda recognized, we did a recognition. I wasn't able to attend because I had to travel that weekend at Chesterfield Baptist Church last year in November. At her veterans program, was recognized as a World War I veteran, Sam Stanley Sr. And his son, Sam Stanley Jr., was in Vietnam. But I had 3, and then I had 15 family veterans, cousins and uncles that was in World War II. Had about 8 was in Korean conflict, and probably about 12 that was in Vietnam. So and right there from Poplar, Brooksville, and Longs area. So the history is there, the family involvement in the military is there. So that piqued my interest when I was growing up, talking with different family members about the military, and also the military is that it's educational. It's education within itself, because the travel, the different cultures, the different languages, the different ideology, the different political systems that you go to foreign countries. You one day you can deploy to an area, within 8 hours you're in a foreign country somewhere. So, and you have to be a person that be adaptable and to respect other people's culture. I think that what works is that, treat people the way you want to be treated. If you're in Czechoslovakia, or you're in Japan or Korea, South Pacific, or wherever, that's how we're able to communicate at all different levels. Now, you can take Brenda and I. Today we can go to the airport in Myrtle Beach, and you can fly us into Afghanistan. We'll be able to function in a matter of seconds because we've been trained to do that. So yes, so that's one of the great things about the military is, and then once we retired, we're still active because I do a lot of volunteer work with veterans and their benefits, especially in the area of their awards and certificates and their medals. In fact, one of the things that we're working on now is doing research with the Camp Robert Smalls Naval Training Center graduates. See, during World War II, from 42 to 45, the Navy had two training centers. You had Great Lakes and you had Camp Robert Smalls. Who is Robert Smalls? He's from South Carolina. In fact, during the he commandeered a ship during the Civil War, and it surrendered to the Union military.
Right.
Then later on, he became a captain in the Navy, and after he completed his service in the Navy, he became a U.S. Congress member. And in fact, and he was state representative and became a Congress member. I guess Camp Robert named the facility after Robert Smalls. Yeah. So that's one project we're working on. We're doing research on that, and also the next project we're doing research on is at Camp Lejeune. At Camp Lejeune from 42 to 45, you had the Moffett Point Marines. Okay, there were the Black Marines who trained at Camp Lejeune. There's segregated facilities, so we're working on that project, doing some research in that area. But we only able to. We've so far from Camp Robert Smalls, we identified at least about 10 sailors from the area that are graduates of Camp Robert Smalls. In fact, one of them is Mr. Blaine from Mr. Edward Blaine from Conway. He was Camp Robert Smalls. You had John D. J.D. Randall, my uncle James Stanley, Emery Gore, his brother Edward Gore. You had James Grissett from Brooksville, Mr. Reverend, what's his name? Reverend Glenn from Little River, and several others. So it's about 10 from the area that we are working on for us recognizing Camp Robert Smalls.
I have I do want to make ask a question, but first of all, let me, if I can diverge a little bit back to Ms. Bankhead. Ms. Bankhead, the people who are viewing this, how would they contact? Who would they contact? Is there a contact person that if they're interested? You just laid out some things that that people should be wanting to join. Can you provide with a phone number or something, or?
Yes. Yes. If they would like to join or have their relatives want us to research them, they can reach me at 843-421-7386 or 843-399-4091.
Okay, you might want to say that again, because we're getting it typed in so we can put it on the screen.
Okay.
So is that it?
Yes, that is one of the numbers. And the other number is 843-421-7386.
Yes. So okay. Right. Right. That's good. So the answer that you have on one of these phones, I'm assuming is going to say Buffalo. Buffalo soldiers.
I can do that.
Yeah. Because look, there's a lot of potential here. I'm looking at. Okay, yes. Because these revelations that are coming up, the revelations to me anyway. Things I didn't know, but I'm so glad to know them, that about the contributions and the stuff that they had to go through, our soldiers had to go through. So and people talk about black members who came back from Vietnam and then they had to fight another war when they came back. But if you go further back on where the Buffalo Soldiers are, it must have been double jeopardy, okay, on what they had to do. And just to think about it, that and they still carried the flag bravely, okay. That's that's something that people should kind of pay close attention to, especially our youth. Okay, but they're not. I would say that our youth, the average youth today, is probably not aware, but it's coming there. Not very much aware of the Buffalo Soldiers. I've seen a lot of enough anyway of not enough, but quite a bit of information on YouTube where they have little clips of what the Buffalo Soldiers were accounted for in bravery and stuff like that, and they do a pretty good job. Okay, they do a pretty good job of depicting that. I noticed something. I think it was the day before yesterday. I didn't know that the guy Dory Miller, the guy who got during Pearl Harbor, who got behind a machine gun and started downing some aircraft for the Japanese. They showed a captain, or they showed a general putting the medal on him. Mm-hmm. But I thought he had gotten killed during that time when he was firing the gun. But they showed him being a recipient of a medal by one of the generals, and I wonder how that played out. I don't know, but I was glad to see that. I think that for our young people need to know that.
Yes, you're saying about Dory Miller that he died later on in the war. He was not killed there at Pearl Harbor.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Dory Miller.
Okay.
Also, Dory Miller is a graduate of Camp Robert Smalls, United States Navy.
Okay. All right.
And also the football player Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Right.
His grandfather is a graduate of Camp Robert Smalls.
Okay. All right. And go ahead. You're about to say something, Ms. Miller?
I wanted to say one thing right quick, is that on November the 7th this year, we'll be also having our annual veterans program. And we want everybody to come out and be a part of it. This is our third annual veterans program. It'll be here at Chesterfield Church. And also, I would like everyone to know that Chesterfield Church is very interested in encouraging and supporting our veterans. Anything that they can do to help veterans, Chesterfield Church as a whole, we reach out and try to do it.
And we'd like to thank Chesterfield Dr. J.R. Matthews and the Chesterfield congregation for their support of this event. That was very successful. The food service staff did a splendid job preparing the foods, the meals. So we're very appreciative of Chesterfield Baptist Church.
Yeah, the feedback that you guys have been getting, man, was just monumental. I'm telling you on that. And you all deserve a pat on the back. If we had more photos of person-ups, close-ups, then we would have provided them. But just verbally, I think that was a monumental ceremony. There were about close. I know that it had wall-to-wall people. I do know that much. Over 200 people, and that was in just a fellowship hall.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah. And that says something.
But the most important thing about it was that the comments we received from the family members, they were overwhelmed with the information we provided them while we were there doing the presentations, and Brenda was doing the narration of their background, their contributions. You could see the response on their face that we did not know this, and we're very proud of our grandfather, our father. So it was a moment where that it really elevate their level to understand that the contributions of their loved one. So that was the apex of this operation, just to provide that information and share that history with their families. And we charge them. We place special emphasis. We kept emphasizes over and over again. When you return back to your community, you have a duty and obligation to teach this history and share this history with your other family members and pass it on generation after generation after generation.
Absolutely.
But we have responsibility to teach our history. No one else is going to do it for you.
Yep.
So that's our responsibility. Right.
So Orton or Miss Bankhead, what's the future? What does the future look like for? I know you just said that in November you're going to have another ceremony for something, but can you envision a greater future or greater reach out for the Buffalo Soldiers aspect of veterans?
Yes. Next year, hopefully we'll have more Buffalo Soldiers that we know about, because right now Alton has already picked up 4. So between now and then we have more. Hopefully we have a much more people which reach out, and just so we can reach out and touch them. And also the November program, we're going to do different things. Like this year we do the folding of the flag. A lot of veterans had never seen the 13 folds of the American flag. And we also going to do the Old Glory, the Army version of the Old Glory presentation of the Old Glory, which is the flag.
Right.
And we have females who's going to be doing that. We're doing it. But one other thing too about female veterans. A lot of times.
Okay, you can have. I didn't mean to.
Okay.
I needed to say a lot of times female veterans are not recognized. I have been in places
where
I stood there and female veteran. I'm standing there with my head on, saying retired U.S. Army veteran. Somebody standing there beside me. He did 2 years or 3 years, and they thanking him for this service. And I did 20 years, over 20 years. So my point is this, and then the other thing they say, is that your husband had you wearing? So that's kind of my face too. But it's okay, because awareness is important to me. So I wear my gear because I want other people to know. I'm okay with that because I'm proud of my service. So, but I want people to know that there are women veterans out there too, a lot more now. And one thing I see, I'm so proud of when I see the women veterans and active duty women now, seem like they're getting promoted faster. Higher rankings, and I'm so proud of that. So it's different now than it was when we were in. I've been retired 32 years, and it's a difference now. But I'm just so proud to see the women and men making rank faster, same to me now than they did when we were in.
Wow.
Okay. I'd like to provide you my number is area code 843 222-7771.
Okay, and that's the number that you can be reached. That's your cell,
That's
or
right.
is that the number for their veterans?
We would like the family members out there to contact us. And if you think your family member is a Buffalo Soldier, please give us a call and we'll do the research.
Yeah.
Okay. We need their support and their assistance in doing this, because our objective is to recognize this family.
One thing that we didn't talk about, and we did have a couple of photos on that, but there may be more than this. We had a photo on the museum. This is the Buffalo Soldiers National Museum I believe it's in Kansas. I believe Texas, Houston.
Houston.
Yeah. And that's amazing. But according to my research, there were others which we didn't have photos of. That's interesting, because these things are going on, but their bravery and everything about them is not really propagated out there like it should be, and that's where you all came in on this past weekend, Ms. Bankhead and Mr. Bellamy. You're really bringing it into light about something that it's really, you can call that Black history. All right.
Well, it's American. It's American history.
Yeah. American
Black
history. American history. Okay. something like this, I'm sure they're taking it out of schools by now, according to this new administration. They're taking things like that out of school and as if it's not important. But it's up to you guys, people like you all, to create these scenarios or celebrations so that the rest of the world, I say not the rest of the United States, but the rest of the world can see the role that was played by the Buffalo Soldiers. And I didn't. There was something I didn't read about, but I didn't read it on the airways a few minutes ago. But the Native Americans called the black soldier Buffalo Soldier one of the reasons because they had curly hair like the buffaloes, not curly
That's
hair,
correct.
but hair like
Correct,
the
yes.
real buffaloes that was their staple economy. That was their food, their clothing. That buffalo, okay, and the bravery of the buffalo. Buffalo was not easy to kill, so
Okay.
and that's why they here it is. It's at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas.
Yeah, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas.
Yeah, one of the monuments.
That's a monument. I was there. It's something called TDY, temporary duty. I was there for about a week there at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah, and here these Buffalo Soldiers. This is at your recent event,
Right.
Yes.
Bankhead and Orton.
Yes,
So,
right there in Poplar.
Yeah, and
Yes, right.
I mean, these people. I mean, they're passionate about
Yes.
about being in an organization. Man, you can tell that. And they came from all over life. On the back of their jackets, they show where they came from.
Yes.
Okay. And it shows where they and for them to hear about. How do they hear about it? You think by the way, y'all Facebook or something or
No. One of them is my friend, the one that's with the head on backwards, the one that spoke. He's actually my daughter's friend. He's like my son. We call him my adopted son. And I spoke to him about it like 3 months ago, and he told me, he said, "No problem, Mom. I'll be there. I will be there." So then he said, "Ask for a flyer." I sent him flyers, and then I started getting phone calls from different chapters, and they wanted to come. And do you have room? I'm like, "Yeah, come on." So that's what happened. They wanted to come. They're excited about it. Also, I wanted to say the official date for the National Buffalo Soldier Day is actually July the 28th of every year. But I hope we could do something every day, particularly July, to acknowledge our Buffalo soldiers.
Well, they better be aware because next year you may have to get a different venue or have to build something onto Chesterfield Church, build a temporary part on the church or something. And to accommodate, because I think once this word gets out here and it's going to be out there, that you're going to have your hands full. So y'all can just be aware. You might as well start planning right now.
That's what we're discussing. We'll be planning well in advance of the next event there. But most importantly, as I said, the response back from the family members. We can't overemphasize this. Please contact us so we can do the research, and that's our number one objective is to recognize those families.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we need the information.
Yeah,
do the research.
One of the things I wanted to say too is the families. They may not realize this when they suffered too. The families. Because when their service member came back home from the war, they came back home with things in their heart that they didn't bring out. So they assist through all those years. Some of them wasn't born when their parents was in the military, was in Buffalo Soldiers, like Mr. Floyd Bellamy. Some of his children wasn't born then, but they went through stages in life where he, probably could have been taught more about things, but he didn't. Also, like fireworks and stuff. A lot of veterans, particularly the ones who have boots on the ground, they don't like to be around a lot of fireworks. So my point is that family members also suffered. And we thank the family members for their support because they had a job to play they kept the home fire burning, per se,
That's right.
when the veterans was away.
It's those photos depict the passion that they have, just being in there in the organizations. I reiterate, the little investigating that I did online led me to more than one museum that the Buffalo Soldiers had, and one that they had. These different states were dedicating to, call them the Buffalo Soldier Museum. Some were general museums of the Army, but they had a certain section in there that was for Buffalo soldiers. Okay?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting, especially since they're not really widely known as they should be. Okay. It was so often.
Well, the reason why is that because early on in 1866, the operation for the Buffalo Soldiers was in areas west of the Mississippi. They were in Kansas, Texas, Omaha, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Carolina. They were out on the western frontier. Okay.
Right.
And then later on in World War I, that's when they're in France and England, and then World War II, France and England and Germany, and then the South Pacific. So that's the reason why people were not much aware of them early on in their career, because the fact that they're out in the Midwest,
right,
they were fighting out on the western frontier.
Okay, Orton, we need the telephone number again that you said.
Okay, it's area code 843.
Right.
222 7771.
Okay. 843-222-7771.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's easy to remember.
Yeah, a lot of twos and sevens there.
Yeah, it sounds like a lawyer's number, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate the families. As Brenda was saying, is that because it's a team effort when you're a soldier. I mean, if you're deployed or been out on training exercise constantly on training, because you have families there, and we appreciate families in supporting the soldiers. So it's a team effort that the soldier goes through their training or a deployment or in combat situation, and you're come back, you're never the same. Even if you're experienced in the military, there's still certain things I still do from my military experience. So you never become a civilian again. That never happened. I don't care how much you try, you never be a civilian again. Does not work.
It's to take charge.
That's right.
The worst thing about mine is that
right.
I have that take charge spirit, and I need to get away from that, but I have that take charge spirit. So wherever I'm at, I'm stepping out.
I'm gonna share an experience with you. I was at church at Mount Calvary. One of my church members was sick in the choir, right? So what happened was, as a trustee, we have a team together, and we removed the choir member, placed the choir member into a classroom, right? My cousin is an usher. So I told my cousin to get on the phone to call EMS. We need to medevac this person. Notice I said medevac. And then once when she was transported to the hospital at TC Coast, my cousin came back to me. She was laughing. She said, "Orton, you know what you told me to do?" I said, "Yes, call EMS." And we had to transport someone to the hospital. She said, "No, you told me to call EMS. We need to medevac someone."
Yes, the armor term. An armor term.
Army came out of me.
Yeah. So look, you guys, I'm telling you, this has been a very informative broadcast today, and I just want to reiterate one thing before we come to a close. You all just get ready for next year. You better do some good planning.
Yes,
I think it's going to be big. Okay. Yeah, I really think so. And you can tell your pastor, Reverend J.R. Matthews, he might as well gear up, okay, that and look for something big, because it looks like it's going. I think this thing is going to kick off. Okay, I really think so.
Definitely will.
Really think so, and I just hope that you all are prepared, and if it does be as big as I'm envisioning, it's going to be good for not just the community, but for the whole county there.
That's correct. Yes, correct.
It's going to be good for the whole county,
and the nation.
Because this thing has far-reaching potential for a lot of other events to be spinning off from this. Okay, and you two are responsible, good or bad. Okay.
Okay.
Good or bad. Yeah. Okay. So listen. You all have any last-minute remarks? We're coming to a close. So
I just like to say thank you so much for allowing us to come on this afternoon. I really appreciate, and I would like to also reach out and thank the Chesterfield staff and the community that came in and hope make our event Saturday a success. My adopted son, who's back in Florida, we thank him too, and all the members that came down with them. The Chesterfield Church family, it was so touching to my heart on Saturday how you don't have to ask them to do something. They just stepped in and did.
That's an outstanding family. Okay.
And I didn't have to say nothing. Somebody just make it happen. And I like that because they called me the drill sergeant. They call me it all around here. So they say, do it before the drill sergeant comes. Do it before But I enjoy it. I thank everybody for what they did to make our program a success.
I can echo that. Each time that I've gone to any event over there, I'll tell you, those cooks, if I knew all of their names, I would call them out one after another. But their cooking staff and their serving staff is just fantastic. Kudos to them. They put a lot of passion into this thing to making sure that people are fed well. And, it's just, kudos, and we thank them very much. I know Brother Orton had to leave for a second, but anyway, we're out of time, and again, we want to thank you all for all these, I'm going to quote unquote revelations of the Buffalo Soldiers, and I think it's about time that it gets out there like that, and it's going to continue on. Okay, again, still going to reiterate. Next year, you better stop planning right now. You better start planning right now. It's coming.
I'm just going to tell my daughter, go ahead and pack your suitcase because you got to come down and help me next year.
Yeah. Might as well. You're going to be coming out of the woodwork. Okay, watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank everybody. Thank our viewers for you all receiving this information.
Okay.
And hopefully you all can act upon that. And Orton, you don't have any last words, Orton?
I echo the same sentiments of Brenda that we thank the staff at the church here, Chesterfield Baptist, was supportive of them to spend the job. Reverend Matthews, the community, the Buffalo Soldiers, the very different chapter. We like to thank you too.
You all are welcome.
Our show and providing that media coverage, your platform. We really appreciate you. And we look forward to coming back and provide you some updates on other activities that we'll be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Upcoming in the next several months and next year. Planning.
Right. And November should be you should be keep
November
event,
right?
That's late. November 7th at 2 o'clock p.m.
At 2 p.m.
And
okay.
We're also going to have a young man down. He's going to come down to help out too. His name is Omar Bryant. He's going to be coming down from Atlanta to help us out.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. See you. All right. Thank you all again. And viewers, please, Ms. Bankhead and Mr. Bellamy, tell your viewers about to stay tuned, and if they want to see us, we will have more shows like this because we're just community podcasts. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks everybody, and Godspeed
Godspeed. God bless
to
you.
our viewers. See everybody at 7 p.m. next week to our viewers, and just spread the word.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next.
Thank you very much.
See you.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Have a good.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of